So are you thinking about living in Dedham, Massachusetts? After living in this area for my entire life, I know all about the area from the best to the absolute worst. So in this video, I will be talking about everything you need to know before moving to Dedham, Massachusetts. Whether you're relocating here for work, whether you're thinking about moving your family here, or if you're living in the city and you're starting to need a little bit of that suburban lifestyle, Dedham is going to be the place for you. I'll be talking all about it in this video, so I hope you enjoy. Hey, I'm Katie Norton, a Massachusetts real estate agent, and this channel is all about helping you get to know the South Shore of Boston and all of the surrounding areas. Subscribe if you haven't. So if you're thinking about moving to the South Shore or the surrounding areas of Boston, as always, just give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about it in person. These videos are really all about just connecting with you and not just to get a bunch of views for no reason. So without further ado, let's jump into everything about Dedham, Massachusetts. So if you're local to Boston, just like I am, you may know Dedham as just the retail hub. As I was growing up, Dedham was definitely a destination place. We would basically go to Route 1 in Dedham and we would do all of our shopping. Remember when Amazon wasn't a thing? Remember when we actually had to walk into the stores? Remember when we actually had to flip through flyers to find when the sales were going to happen? There were no Amazon Prime days that we could just log in and order stuff from our cart. So this was a real destination place. And for a lot of families like mine, it was a weekend destination place. My parents would load us up in the car and we would head over to Dedham. And basically, if you drove along Route 1, you would come across all the different big stores at that time. So like a Circuit City or a Lechmere, those were big destinations if we needed a TV or a microwave or a computer even in the early 90s. So we would head over to that area. There were always a couple local restaurants that we would stop into. J.C. Hillary's was there, which if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I used to work for the Circus Restaurant Group, which owned Charlie's and J.C. Hillary's and Joe's Bar and Grill. That was one of the early restaurants that was there. Remember TGI Fridays? When that first started, that was a big deal because it came to Route 1 in Dedham first. Anyways, we would do our shopping and have a bite to eat and then head home. But boy, has Route 1 changed since the 90s. Let me tell you a little bit about that. Today, Dedham still remains a local shopping hub. It's just that everyone has pivoted. When Amazon and everything online first started, those big box stores started shutting down and we got nervous, like what was going to happen to Route 1. But luckily, bigger retail chains came in, bought out the places, and now those buildings are beautiful and thriving. We've got a Costco, a Dick's Sporting Good. We've even got a Tesla location right in the middle of Route 1. And now, in addition to all those shopping destinations, we have again, Ulta Beauty, Sephora, all those places, they've just added Saks off Fifth, like things like that have come to that area. And the thing is, they've now brought in other restaurant chains. So there's newer ones, there's older ones. So it's still a shopping destination. But more importantly, closer to 95, right when you get off the highway to get onto Route 1, what they've done is added an outdoor shopping mall called Legacy Place. And Legacy Place is really for those higher end brands. You're going to find a Vineyard Vines, a Whole Foods, an REI, the Paper Store. They actually have like some workout studios, a Pilates place and a hot yoga place. Then they have your traditional movie theater. They also added King's Bowling and a bunch of restaurants, including Capitol Grill. So for us, that's been a nice change over the past 10 or 15 years that we've started getting these higher end stores real close by. So that's Legacy Place. You literally could pop in there to get your kids one outfit that you need, or you could spend the afternoon there doing shopping and then seeing a movie and then going to dinner. So there's really a lot of movement, I would call it, over there. There's also a BJ's right by there. So again, it's constant over there. There's just constant things to do. And now I'll give you a little bit more context about Route 1, which runs straight up and down through Dedham. If you get off on the Route 1 side where I was talking about, where it's Legacy Place and all the shopping and all the restaurants, that's the main way into Dedham. But if you do get off the other side, The other side leads you south into Norwood and then further into Walpole and so on and so forth. It actually leads you all the way down to Foxborough, to Gillette Stadium, Patriots Place. So funny. If you're a shopper, you call it Patriots Place. If you're a football fan, you call it Gillette Stadium, but they're one and the same. And so basically that's how far Route 1 goes, from Dedham all the way down into Foxborough and even further. In between the shopping and Gillette Stadium, you're going to find what we call the Auto Mile. The Auto Mile, again, has been around since I was a kid. So I remember buying our first cars there. I remember buying my first car on the Auto Mile, my first one that I was able to buy on my own without my parents' help. So that was pretty exciting for me. And then to this day, my husband and I still drop off our cars for fixing. If we need to buy a new car, we go to the Auto Mile. So it has everything from Mercedes, BMW, Jaguar, Jeep, Kia, all of them. You name it, it's there. So if you're looking for a new car, that's where we're going to send you if you're new to Boston. So as you can tell, there's a ton of shopping and retail experience and restaurant experience and plenty of reasons for people to come to Dedham. But a huge misconception is that Dedham is only for shopping. I'm here to tell you that it's actually an amazing place to live. So let's first talk about the location of Dedham. Dedham is only 10 miles from Boston. And so the commute into Boston is extremely convenient while still maintaining that suburban feel. Listen, it's a commute to Boston. So anytime that you live south of Boston, north of Boston, west of Boston, there's going to be a little bit of traffic. We know that. But with Dedham, it's a straight shot right into Boston, and it's about a 30-minute drive. So even with a little bit of traffic, it really isn't that bad. If you decide that driving isn't for you and you want to take public transportation, the best way for you to get to Boston from Dedham is the commuter rail. And there's a bunch of different locations for the commuter rail. So in my opinion, the most convenient one is the Amtrak station, which is located at Route 128 in Westwood. Super easy. There's a commuter rail train that goes right into South Station. I think there's one that goes into North Station. I would have to check that. But again, these are all things that if you are thinking about moving to Dedham and these are concerns of yours, I would love to talk you through it in person so I can find out what you really need out of your commute. Some people love being in their car. Some people want that extra 30 or 40 minutes to listen to a podcast, to talk on the phone with their friends. Some people, like my husband, like to get on that commuter rail, put their AirPods in, and just focus on their emails before they get to their office. So I think it's really an individualized thing, but the best thing to know about Dedham is there are easy ways to get in and out of the city. But also, speaking of that Amtrak station, that is your best way to get to New York City, is that Route 128 station. So for someone that lives in Milton, Quincy, Canton, Westwood, all these areas, we wouldn't go into Boston to get to New York City. We would go right to Route 128, a 10-minute quick drive on the highway, and we're at the station. Parking is easy, and we are on our way to New York City, Washington, D.C., all within like a really easy, luxurious commute, to be honest. So I really choose that Amtrak station for many reasons. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about the schools in Dedham, Massachusetts. Most people that are relocating from another part of the country are always asking me about the school systems in Boston, South Shore, and surrounding areas. So let me tell you a little bit about Dedham. The school system here is going to be Dedham Public Schools. And this school system boasts 5 elementary schools, which funnel into 1 middle school, which then funnel into 1 public high school. According to niche.com, this school system is rated a B+, which is fantastic. Anything in the Boston area that's a B+ is going to be like an A+ in any other part of the country. The Dedham public schools are great, but if you're thinking of a different route and you're thinking about sending your kids to private schools, as I've said before in many of our videos, there are so many different private schools in the Boston and surrounding areas that it really is super specific to your child and what you're going to need. So that is one of the reasons that I say, give me a call, we can talk through these things. But just to understand Dedham, there is the Nobles and Greenough, which is considered the number 4 private school in all of Massachusetts. So here you have a fantastic private school right in your backyard. I think they are grades 7 through 12. This is something that if you're interested in this school, I can give you a lot more information, or I can tell you about the different Montessori schools, the different charter schools, same-sex education, meaning boys or girls schools, and so on and so forth. I could go on forever. So reach out if you have any more questions about that. But now let's talk about the community vibe in Dedham. So a lot of people, as I said, still think of Dedham as just a place to shop and go do chores, destination, entertainment. The reality is there is a really close-knit atmosphere in Dedham. So if you just search on Google, you are gonna find endless events hosted by this municipality. From Dedham Day to summer concert series to trunk or treat events, there is so much to do. The options are endless. Whether you are with young children, your fur babies, or with your elderly parents, there is so much to do in Dedham. Just like most places that are south of Boston, Dedham is a great community for traveling other places. So you can live and work, you can live in Dedham, work in Boston, but if you wanted to vacation, you could head down to Cape Cod. It's about an hour and a half drive, straight shot down to the Cape. If you want to head up north for skiing, depends where you're going, Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, but all three are very accessible right off of 95, literally right in your backyard. So that's the one thing I love about Dedham, is it is super convenient if you want to go other places as well. So now let's talk a little bit about the real estate in Dedham, Massachusetts. So the thing about Dedham is you're going to have a ton of variety in the style of homes in the different neighborhoods, different locations, and different price points. You can find historic homes that were built in the 1800s or even before that. You can also find mid-century Cape Cods. And the thing about the Cape style house is there's so many different varieties in Dedham. It was a very popular style of building over from the 50s to the 80s. So you can literally find a mid-century Cape from the 1950s or a more modern looking Cape from the 1980s, 90s. And the thing is, it's really going to depend on the location, how updated it is. So you could find a 1950s Cape in the best location with updates, and that is going to be more expensive than a newer house, a center entrance colonial even, for example. So it really truly is about what you're looking for in the style of home, what type of neighborhood you want to live, and what kind of access you want to the highway and all that shopping. So for example, this listing here is priced at $659, and then this one is priced at almost $1 million. The homes are very similar, except that one is so close to the highway, that better commute, the better shopping, the better retail, the better restaurants, and one is just further into Dedham in more of the suburban neighborhoods. So it really does depend on what you're looking for, what your commute is, what type of budget you have, and what you're really looking to get out of your home. As always, there is one other home that is always so popular in Boston and the surrounding areas, and that is a central entrance colonial. You're going to find a smattering of these type of listings in Dedham, Massachusetts. There's also the option for newer developments closer to places like Legacy Place. The thing is, just like all the rest of Boston, the housing market is very competitive for Dedham, Massachusetts. And the reason is, just as I talked about earlier, it has that perfect blend of suburban life with some urban life in Dedham and then access to Boston. Homes are going so fast in Dedham. In fact, it's only been about an average of 8 days on market to put something under contract in Dedham. So given the lifestyle that you can have here, it is really affordable place to live. The average medium home price is $770,000. So when you think about your access to Boston and your convenience to all of the things that I've talked about earlier in this video, this is really going to be a great price point for you. And of course, when I talk about affordable, I'm talking about in comparison to some of the other surrounding areas of Boston, which could have a medium home price of $1 million and sometimes higher than that. So if you're thinking about moving to Dedham or any of the surrounding areas, please give me a call. I would love to help no matter what part of the journey you're at about thinking about moving to Boston or the South Shore. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. So subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video.